cannot wait for this. I'm very excited. I want to dive into this like a very well cooked, like a steak made by a Michelin chef. You understand? Like I want to really just, I just want to. It's a little weird that Jared's in like, and I'm like, yeah. All right, Pepe, please switch just please. DJ's like, no, one. Yeah, it really is. All right, dig that. Oh, he's back on the platter here. Interesting. The algorithm's finding dig that. Is death now meaningful or is fun too expensive? Man, that's a wonderful title. He did very good on that. Let's see what's up. What's up, Carp? Welcome to the fam. You are now an official algorithm. Thank you for pushing the follow button, buddy. Let's check out what dig that has here for us. That's loaded questions for sure.
Responding in Star Citizen just got expensive and a lot more complicated. Med-gel costs $100K popping for the first time. You're gonna have to choose where and if you can even come back. All right, we're gonna do this one real dirty, like no fancy editing, no 200 clips in the cut. Let go. So I'm sure you've already heard a lot about this on YouTube and Reddit posts and people screaming from the mountaintops. So I ain't gonna go too deep into the mechanics of it, but for those who haven't seen any of this, I don't know how you haven't. Med beds now run on med-gel canisters. That good.
Okay. Can I just say something that Coob is spot on and why he has a spot on my sound effect board? Because this man, Coob, he nails it on the head almost every single time. Very rarely do I disagree with Coob. Coob says Star Citizen. People complain that regen is too easy. Then they make regen harder, and people complain that regen is too hard. That is such a banana fountain moment there, bro.
Banana fountain.
That's for Coob. Go! DJ. Instead of the Coob button, DJ's pushing the goo button. Goo. I'm so happy you're all here tonight. Thanks for chilling out with me.
No more infinite respawns. Every regeneration consumes a whole med-gel canister. Tier 3 beds hold 1 canister. Tier 2 beds hold 2 canisters. Tier 1 beds hold 4 canisters.
So far, so good. Okay. So far, so good.
Once you use those up, that's it. So you ain't gonna be out there with a tier 3 bed and be like, just backspace to get rid of this tier 2 injury.
Or this is a bane of people trying to like break into ships and people just constantly spawn over again. That'll be gone. This takes care of a lot of problems actually, and it adds a little bit more seriousness to Death of a Spaceman narrative, and it's not too hardcore. Remember, these are the things we were talking about last week, like how the mechanics might affect going forward here, and we didn't think it was necessarily the right time because we're at this test phase and tons of bugs, so we don't want it too hard. It sounds like they're implementing it just right. It's, to me, so far from what I'm gathering and watching, it seems like they're doing it just right. Put a 1 if you agree and a 2 if you don't. And if you don't agree, let me know why so we can discuss.
I mean, you can, but it's going to cost you, boss. Treating an injury means you got less than a whole canister left, which means now you can't respawn into that bed. Or at least to restock it like a spawn vending machine. Not all bad,
Hold on, Diva's got a 2. Diva! Because I want to, You got to have a reason, hon. Okay, Devil's got a 2. Devil, let me know down here. Unless you're like Diva and you're just wanting to yap, which is great. Everybody likes to yap. What's up, Fingers? How you doing, buddy? How you doing, dude?
In exchange, we get multiple imprints, which finally gives you some redundancy in your life. Have your Pisces out there. If your Pisces gets destroyed or you run out of med-gel, you have a secondary option or even a tertiary option or whatever the fourth option is. So you can choose another spot that you set your imprint in. For example, and probably be the most common is the nearby space station. So this keeps you from having to respawn all the way at home at your primary residence, which could be on the other side of the system, right? So that's good. We likes that. So you die. They got a shiny new UI for all the locations for you mapped out. So this means you can have another ship with a backup bed out there for you. So you got your Nursa or your Pisces out there. Say one of them lames come by in the fighter and shoot your empty ship up for no reason. Or you just clean out a med-gel. If you happen to have an Idris, Polaris, Starlancer TAC, Hercules, Asgard, just something with a med bed inside it, that could be your next jump off point if your primary go down. As long as med-gel is stocked up in that bed, that 100,000 credit med-gel canister we just talked about. Once the gel runs out or the respawn point is destroyed, then you're going to have to look to your next respawn point, like the space station. Or you could choose to send out a rescue beacon, because beacons is back, baby. The rescue ones, anyway. So having options is good. It's just anything to avoid having to respawn all the way back at your primary residence.
Thank you, bro.
We dig it. But it's a big deal across the board. This affects just about everything you do. Think about the impact it has on solo play versus going out there with your buddies. Like solo, you still got your safety net, you got your multiple imprints, giving you some flexibility to spawn at your ship, station, you got your fallback options. But it's still punishing. For example, if you're out at Hather doing one of them good, clean, long solo loops, or a line in mine if you prefer, that can take you like 3 hours if you go there with no cards in your hand. So you're out there that long, you're gonna start racking up some injuries no matter if you're a rookie or if you're a veteran. You're gonna take some L's, you're gonna take some tier 3 injuries, maybe tier 2 injuries. You're gonna have to respawn here and there. Every time you do that, you start taking some L's, because each injury, no matter how severe, repairing the injury, tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, no matter what it is, it's gonna cost you half a canister. So one tier 3 injury, now you can't respawn in that bed. You know, you go to the bed a couple times and respawn once, that's 200K. That's 200,000 in canisters. Money gone. 200. Good. It should be. And let's be real, 100K is pretty cheap. You know, if you've been playing Star Citizen a long time, 100K is pretty cheap. And there should be some type of actionable payment for the decision that you made. Now, see, this is where we got into this murky water right now, because some people are dying to bugs. You know, less than there used to be many years ago, but it's still happening on the reg. And so now you're paying for the gel, you know, and it starts to add up, and then you got to say, oh, right. But like, personally, I think this is just a nice, gentle push in the direction of Death of a Spaceman, where your actions have consequences. And frankly, I'm hardcore and old school, and I think that med gel should cost a shit ton more. What you think of that? Come at me. I think that med gel should be, because you want it to act as a security layer. And I know people, if you don't agree, that's fine. You know, like, I can understand the opposite point of view as well. But like, I come from a very hardcore, old school, thick-skinned, able to handle shit motherfucker age. All right. And I will say this, in my age group, people want hardcore things to happen. And that is what makes the game fun. Right? Dibley says, sense of loss. Nice. Need to value your life. Awesome. Concern for having enough of an item for fuel to a gameplay loop. Fantastic. Those wanting Call of Duty respawn speeds concerns make me happy Hobbit. Dibley, I couldn't agree with you more, brother. Like, you know, like, and you know, I can understand the other point of view where people are saying, you know, like, this is too much and this is going to be like it's going to be like, it's going to be a high hurdle for new players and all this stuff. It's like, not really. I don't, listen, that argument's a little weak sauce for me, you know, because like, eventually, let's take anybody that's played any space sim, right? Or something trying to give you some type of experience, an MMO experience. Like, let's take EVE Online that's got a crazy learning curve that loops and curves and goes in all different types of directions, okay? People eventually learned it because they loved the game so much, because the game offered them an experience that they loved, and they took the time to learn it. And frankly, that hurdle is a wonderful hurdle away from people who are like shoot, die, respawn, repeat type BR people. And I am one of those people, by the way. I've played plenty of BRs here on the channel. I love BRs, but this is not what I want from Star Citizen. I don't think a lot of other Star Citizens want a BR experience either. They want a space sim experience. They want to be a citizen. They want to live in the verse. They want their actions to matter. They want more than just the BR, die, rinse, wash, repeat, shoot, kill, die. You know, they don't really want that, which is why the tier 0 thing that happened recently and all got a lot of people pissed off. And I was trying to calm everybody down and tell them, hey, you know what? Don't worry, they're just doing this now to get asses in seats and bring in more revenue. It's a temporary thing. They even said it was a temporary thing. People were blowing it up like it was like the biggest news in history. All the Star Citizen content creators grabbed onto it, monetized the shit out of it. And I'm just trying to tell people, like, relax. It's okay. It's just temporary. You know? Absolutely crazy. And then KP Jax. What's up, KP Jax? He says, facts. It should cost something. Make it hit him in the wallet. Yeah, right, dude. Like, it's another security layer.
It's actually game design. It's a game mechanic that adds another layer of security, which everybody who's been bitching about security should love the fact that med gel costs this much. And in fact, this is a rare instance where I'm going to say the PvEers should agree with me. And PvEers generally agree with me a lot because I have a PvP kind of mindset with stuff. They're going to actually agree with me and say, you know what? I like this. And you know what? I'm a PvPer and I like this too. This is an area where PvEers and PvPers should agree on. That the med gel should cost a lot of money. And I would guarantee you that the silent majority of people that aren't screaming or trying to monetize content, the people that play the game, they want a higher price on that med gel. Put a 1 here if you agree with me. I feel like people are not as weak and thin-skinned as everybody tries to make everybody out to be. I feel like there's a lot of hardcore motherfuckers that would be completely fine. Right. These are gamers. These are gamers right here, everybody. So if you're watching and you're like wondering like, oh my God, it's just an echo chamber. No, we just are all old school hardcore gamers together as a group. These aren't like fanboys. Okay. Although some of you are, and I love you. Keep fanboying it up. You know who you are. But I'm just going to tell you this. These are hardcore mofos up in here. And this is how they want this game to be. So that's that. I feel like we've answered the question. I feel like we've answered all of this.
Okay, quick. So imagine if you're doing a mission to earn some money, you better be pretty flawless because 100,000 credit mission is going to get ate up pretty quick if you have to go back to your bed and heal up. All right, let's take it to the group side now. If you're doing some group play, if you're playing with your buddies, you got yourself some strategic depth now. Orgs can set up forward bases or temporary beds as rally points. Well, now it makes things interesting and rewards your strategic planning. And it raises the stakes.
Java.
You know, if you're having a group battle, the attackers may target your med beds to deny you respawning into it. Every extra crewmate death or injury multiplies your costs. So now you got to start making...
Java, you are making me crazy up here in this chat tonight. She said the goo factory crafting. Oh, yeah, Hot Java.
Hot Java makes me feel so good.
The goo factory. Yeah, Java.
Pimp decisions. Leaders got to weigh out frontline respawns versus safer rear bases. It's about to get crazy, man. So you got your trade-offs. You have some agency in where you respawn at, giving you some control instead of just punishment. The consequences align with the death of a spaceman philosophy that we've been hearing about for years now. You got your logistics gameplay, which has now got very much more complicated. Some people used to think hauling was logistics, because that's about as close as we used to have to it. But now, Medgel becomes a true supply line resource. It's got to be moved from place to place. It's got to be distributed to ships. The goo must flow.
Yes.
Those without it, that's a wrap. Your combat strategy changes. Targeting or defending med beds becomes a viable tactic. I mean, you would think that'd be against the Geneva Convention, but not in this verse. Piracy, man, that's... Med ships are gonna be such huge targets, man. Stolen.
Ooh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. But here's the thing, and this was a question that was just asked in the chat here by Frank, and he says, can goo be stolen from beds? And I'm not quite sure of the answer on that right now. Does anybody have the answer on that? I would want to think right now, probably not. But like in the future, oh my God, or even ships hauling goods. I mean, like this really elevates the entire pirate game and PvP and people going after targets. And again, you know, I know some people get a little triggered when I talk about pirating and, you know, that type of gameplay, but it is important because it offers demand. Because as people are taking it away off the market and putting it on their own black market, right, or just reselling it out there or just using it for themselves, it creates like a vacuum, and then more supply has to hit. So the prices usually go up because of it. So piracy, you know, as much people poo-poo on piracy, it serves an economic function, at least in an MMO.
Medgel will fuel a brand new black market economy. I mean, if you buying up Medgel, even if a pirate's charging 50K, 75K even, well, that beats the hell out of buying multiple canisters at 100K a pop, right?
Right. And this is going to be interesting too, to see if we're going to be able to craft this as well. Once crafting comes down, that will also be a competitor. So, you know, if you can craft this shit and you can craft it at a cheaper price as well, these are things that I talk about for player-driven economies moving forward, you know?
It's hard to turn down, boss. The economic fallout is going to be ridiculous. Healing injuries in the med bed costs half a canister. Again, regardless of the severity. So a single tier 3 injury, 50,000 credit loss. So what happens when people get scared to get injured or to die? They get really careful, right? Suddenly, everything you do, you got to weigh the consequences out now. It's running in that cave full of dogs worth 100K. There's a shortcut down that steep hill, but I don't know if it's worth 100K. I'm going to clear my crime stat at Correa, but that's going to be more than 100K. I think I just discovered something nobody's seen, but it's gonna be 100K. Medical industry here almost bad as United Healthcare. I don't give a fuck what happened to you. It's gonna be 100K. It discourages routine medical use. People gonna be like, yo, man, what are you doing in my bed? Get your ass out my bed, bro. You gonna have some hostile med bed owners. You gotta think about your med runners. When CIG laid this out with the post on their site, they gave a shout out to the med runners. They saluted their noble pursuits. They want to give the impression that they want to start looking out for them with some tweaks in the future. But look at it. A rescue beacon is 15,000. I feel like I seen somewhere that they bumped it up to 50,000 for a rescue beacon. So let's say 50,000. You show up and find one patient with an injury that needs a bed. That's half a canister that burns. Any profit you might have made for your efforts. You show up, there's 2 people that need the med bed. Your profit's wiped and you're now down 50,000 credits. That puts responders in the red or at best at their break-even point. So they have to pay to play. Med runners gotta pay to come rescue your sorry ass because you was out there playing with copians or wore light armor in a target-rich environment. There's plans in the future.
Well, they'll deal with that. Like any organization is going to deal with the cost of expenses and be able to charge what they need to charge before they offer the services. That's just the way it's going to go. So I'm not necessarily in agreement with Dig That on that particular fact, but goddamn, isn't he positive and happy, dude? This is a good dude. I'd like to just sit down and have a chat with Dig That about our journeys, man. This guy is always so positive, dude.
To offset that cost, like NPC guilds will subsidize your rescue to give you money beyond what the actual rescue mission pays you. Players will be able to set med bed pricing at some point, but this is all in a nebulous future, no release date, long-term kind of deal that doesn't solve the short-term imbalance. And with medical beacons being back and MedJail being sky high, you can follow that to the logical conclusion that folks gonna abuse them to set them up as traps, send out some good old fake signals to lure in some responders, and then rob them.
What's up, Aether? 4 peso bucks for me, thanks, bro. 34 months like a boss. Thank you so much, Aether, for that. Good to have you home, but
get butt naked. CIG acknowledges this, but they don't have a solution yet. So in these early days, piracy might masquerade as medical gameplay. Hopefully they'll do some things to make this a little bit more digestible, like throw MedJail in some loot crates, make them easy to find in derelicts to offset some of the costs, which would help new players and scavengers participate without being priced out. And that would allow some emergent gameplay like
the price should always be determined by an actual player-driven market. Of course, you got your materials. Those materials also should be priced by a player-driven market. This is the second biggest issue about Star Citizen that I talk about all the time. The first being, I'm so glad to see that Benoit Bessinger is talking with Jared. I'm going to watch that 3-hour video. I talked about that at the beginning of the stream tonight. The second thing that I want to see is an economy. An economy needs a market. I want to start seeing a marketplace where you can put your buy orders and your sell orders in. Can I get an amen? Can I get a yes for that? I really want that soon. And I think that comes with crafting. I think that comes with crafting. If you want something similar to finding out how you can make the most profit, or that you can actually find a way to manufacture these and make a lot of credits to begin with, then I would say this type of gameplay would be for you. And I think it gives gameplay more meaning for industrialists. I think that the industrialists want this type of gameplay because they're going to be able to be in a live, dynamic market situation where prices are dependent upon actual demand. And goo, medical goo, oh yeah, is going to cost something to make. I'm sure they'll make this craftable. I wouldn't know why they wouldn't make this a crafted item, but the people that are going to manufacture the goo are going to have a price, and those prices are going to be determined upon the materials to make the goo, right? And then there's another structure. There's like the raw commodities market. So this all comes together, and that needs a market. You need to post these out on a market so that you can see if the price that you're asking for is good. This 100,000K that's Cloud Imperium is slapping down on this stuff. I know there's a lot of real cool, hardcore industrialist gamers here, like people from EVE Online. I know there's other people that don't want an EVE Online. I will just say this. I need there to be a dynamic feature to the economy. I need it to be living. I need it to be breathing. I need it to matter. If you're an industrialist, it makes the gameplay so much more fun than just fetch quest ship A to B. Instead, you're actually going to a point because somebody at the other end needs it. And when you're hauling it, it means so much more to you. You're like, oh shit, like people are going to use this medical goo that I am transferring. I'm going to make a shit ton if I can make this over there. And then you can sell it what you feel like is the price you want to sell it at. That should not be taken from the gamer. Like that decision, that should be our decision. Put a 1 if you guys agree with that. Like if you've taken the time to buy the goo at a certain price, you should be able to take the time to sell it at the price you want to sell it at. That's my thing. If you're constricted by like a spreadsheet and they plug in 100,000 for the med gel, it really takes away a lot from the game, especially in an MMO. I'm glad this is great. Can I just say, holy shit. Thank you. Sometimes I feel like I'm speaking into the darkness with nothing but and my voice just goes into the and other nights I'm like, woo. And Diva, you're just doing that to Yap. You're just doing that to Yap, Diva. I already know what you're doing, Diva. You're so bad. I love it. Diva! But it's nice to see that I'm on the same page with the people watching. I really like that. Like when our voices are like, okay, the voice, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I feel connection. I'm like, yes, I want there to be meaning behind this type of gameplay. I feel like if we just get stuck and I gotta tell the hardcore industrialists to calm down and not to worry, because I feel like all this is like temporary setting, like this $100,000 price. This is all kind of like a temporary format until we get that live dynamic economy that we've all been dying for. That will start with crafting. I really do believe, if you're wondering when the actual economy has the layers that you want to it, if you're an industrialist gamer, I think you'll get it when crafting lands. That is the point at which it's going to get a lot more fun for people that are interested in the economy. What's
for
up,
medical
Maddie?
Supplies, a med scavenger, if you will. Bigger picture, on the pro side, it adds some consequence, some strategy, and some logistics to medical gameplay. On the flip side, the cost feels overtuned. It discourages risk-taking and groups scaled up operations.
No, again, like what Dig Dad's talking about is a construct that we're living in right now because we're in this alpha format. So I don't think that's anything to have to worry about. I think in the future they know they've got to make the economy dynamic. We've watched Citizen Con. We've seen the Tony Z from 17, 18, somewhere thereabouts, circa 2018-ish, give or take a year. We've seen Tony Z talk about how he wants the economy to be constructed. There's going to be a lot of NPC AI interaction and not a lot of human interaction, but it's supposed to simulate a demand. So when I talk about this, there are really very well-versed Star Citizen gamers out there that have studied as I have that are saying to me right now, like, DG, the economy we're going to get. Yes, but that won't stop me from fighting for more player-driven choices. I'm always going to argue for the gamer. I'm always going to put in my 2 cents in for the people that are hardcore industrialists that come from backgrounds that understand that player-driven mechanics in an economy make a sweet piece la resistance. It makes the sweetness matter. The cake. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at French.
You got a big group. You better have a lot of money within that group because it's going to be a money sink. And to circle on back to the risk taking is easy when the consequences are low, and there should be consequences. But when you go
see everything that Dig Dad's doing right now, everything that Dig Dad's like theorizing right now about costs and everything is all built into people actually having the ability to sell it what they want to sell it at. That's why player-driven economies are really important, because every thought process that Dig That is going through right now are the thought process that many are going to have if they make this more player-driven and let us actually assign pricing to the goods that we want to sell. All the thought processes you're hearing Dig That go through right now, if it's constricted, and it's always going to be 100,000, and that's the way the Cloud Imperium is going to make it, and then it makes for very boring, bland kind of gameplay. That's not what I fear everybody's going to have to worry about. I think right now, temporarily, yes. I think in the future, we're going to have the economy that we want where we can plug in pricing in a dynamic market, be able to sell, be able to buy order, sell order, and have a living, thriving marketplace that will be just delicious. That's my dream. That's my hope. And I will never stop fighting for it. I'm very very adamant about it. And I will fight for that.
You fall in the other direction. I guess only the rich get to take risks. Some of the coolest things are done by people who don't spend their time grinding up money.
What's up,
and I understand and agree with you should have to provide the means to do things in game. You should have to earn things in the game. But I think this may be one of the things that shuts the door on some creativity, some cool, risky things that we might have seen if not for the fact that MedJail costs more than a couple of ambulance rides in the US. For those that don't know, it'd be cheaper to rent a party bus out here. Anywho,
I don't know. Give it some time. I think we'll see those kind of prices with ambulance rides in another couple of years with inflation, man. That's what all I gotta say is like ridiculous, man. All right, that's it for Dig That. Let me put this. I'm gonna paste. Whether you like that one, Seth. All right, listen. There you go. There's Dig That 32's page. I'm gonna like that. That is wonderful. I'm subscribed to the man. Dig That 32 is awesome. Super positive, happy, and that smooth voice. That smooth, sultry voice. So good. So good.